Georgia minus 3.5, over under 50.5. Connor, take it away.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. Georgia's won 8 straight games in this series, each of those games by at least 14 points. So this has been a pretty lopsided matchup over the last few years. This comes down to one thing for me, and that's the trenches on both sides of the ball. I think we know that Georgia's going to look to lean on the run, especially because Gunnar Stockton's arm is not the most reliable thing in the world. You can't take too much away from what they played last week with Austin Peay. They came out sluggish, but that line movement going from 7 to 3.5, I think that's a little...
With injury news coming out against Tennessee.
Right, yeah, and I think that's a little much of an overreaction. Does that... I don't know, that feels wrong to me.
Whoa, what are we overreacting to?
Georgia's sluggish play against Austin Peay. They didn't look great, but...
That's Georgia football, though, against these lower-tier opponents.
I would agree.
So we opened at 7 or 7.5 or whatever it was, right? And it goes down to 3.5. If I don't think the people that are moving that line are the type to overreact. There's got to be something we're missing here. If that is, if Tennessee really is a 3.5 point underdog. I listen, Connor. I know you're number one Tennessee hater, even though you live in the gallows of the orange. But
I do.
Can we be honest? Me and you, Karter, Joey Aguilar's look pretty good. These look pretty good.
He has against Syracuse and ETSU.
Now here's the thing. We can't be doing this because Georgia's had the exact same thing. And I know I said on the NFL show last week that's my least favorite show. This is almost my least favorite show because we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about Tennessee, who's played Syracuse and who's played East Tennessee State. Shout out Cade McNamara. And we're going to talk about Georgia, who's played Marshall and Austin Peay. So
that's fair.
If I name stats, I don't want Karter up there in the top right corner saying, oh, they've only played Syracuse. They've only played Austin Peay. Can I at least get that promise, Karter? Because Georgia's done the same thing. And Georgia's looked worse against the bad teams than Tennessee has.
Yeah, but normally I agree with you there. But
no, you don't.
That's what Georgia football...
You do not.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. Early season, you know, if you name stats, whatever, especially if an opponent looks bad against a less, when the opponents are the same, how do they look against each other? The issue is Georgia football just does this. I mean, this is Georgia football is under Kirby Smart. They're losing in the first half to freaking Ballsack State all the time. The Austin Peay thing, I had the game on in the background. I wasn't impressed, but I've never been impressed with Georgia against these terrible teams. This is just what they do.
They're still in three starters on the O-line. They're still breaking in. They're just going through some growing pains, Dylan. Come on. They'll find it.
Well, it's like, they look bad against Marshall.
I'm not saying I don't want it to be, I don't know. I don't want people to think I'm holding, I'm being negative against Georgia based on how they look these two games. I'm just saying we're going to throw out stats, and we can't just sit here and keep saying, oh, well, they played nobody. Both teams have played nobody. We have to come to that conclusion right away.
Sure, but I also don't think it necessarily matters that much. But it doesn't because I think Joey Aguilar, you talked about him this season, he's looked better than Nico did at any point last season, right? Outside of Nico versus UT Martin or whatever.
Or Nico this season, which has been a train wreck.
Well, that's a whole nother disaster. That might be Sean Foster, but
I don't know. I think you're right. And I was coming into the year, like you said, Dylan, I wasn't very high on this Tennessee team. I thought Joey Aguilar in a conference like this, coming from the Fun Belt, I didn't know how it would look. And through the first two games, no matter who their opponent is, it's looked very promising. He's been great. They've been able to lead on that three-headed running attack, that running back room that has so much depth, that has so much versatility. And you talk about stats, they had 246 rush yards in that week one win over Syracuse. They had 259 on the ground last week against ETSU. They're going to want to lean on that run, especially in a matchup like this, and Joey Aguilar's first SEC matchup against this caliber of a defense. They're going to want to lean on the run. So I think to circle back to my original point, who can stop the run, who can control the line of scrimmage, that's what this really comes down to for me in this game.
What do you want to see from this game? So let's say either team wins by touchdown. What do you take away? You kind of think the same about both these teams if it's a close one?
It depends on the game script for me. Like if Joey Aguilar is completely awful and they have to run the ball 50 times and they just can't get anything going and they score 10 points, I'll probably feel worse about Tennessee.
Yeah. Or let's say Gunnar Stockton led a 2-minute drive to win the game by a touchdown and he's really using his arm instead of his legs. I would feel different about Georgia.
I am down on both of these teams. If it comes down to a 3 or 7 point win either way, I have no clue what I'm going to think, but I do think Tennessee wins. I think Tennessee wins this game. I think they have the better quarterback. My one concern with Tennessee, if I could play devil's advocate, is their rush defense hasn't been great. They're 94th in EPA per rush allowed, and like we already talked about, I think that's gonna be Georgia's game plan is get the ball going on the ground early, maybe let the pass game open up later in the game. I do like Tennessee's defense, but against the rush, it hasn't been great. Still going Tennessee to win. I think Aguilar's a better quarterback. I like his arm better.
I think we'll see Gunnar Stockton in some design quarterback runs in this game a little bit. Get him going in the run game. Yeah, you're right. Georgia's been running the ball. Let's talk about stats. 240 rush yards against Marshall, 190 versus Austin Peay. That's been a point of emphasis for them with Frazier. I don't hate that, Dylan, but it does seem like, and this might be me relying too much on the series history, Georgia's defense seems to always have an answer for Tennessee's offense, even when it's explosive, even when there's Hendon Hooker back there. For whatever reason, this Georgia defense has an answer for Tennessee's explosive offense. I think, this isn't the Georgia defense of their championship years, but I think they're strong enough to give Aguilar and Tennessee's offense some problems, maybe stifle that run game just a little bit. I'm going to go Georgia here. I would not have taken this at 7. I wouldn't bet Georgia -7 at all. But with a closer spread, 3.5 goes down to 3. I like Georgia in this spot, even in Knoxville.
Man, you go back through this series, man. I mean, Kirby Smart just has Josh Heupel's number. I mean, it hasn't even been close in any of these.
Even the year Tennessee's been good.
Yeah, even with Hooker, Nico. Kind of know what Nico is at this point, but
tough one.
It's tough because I think I agree with Dylan. I kind of like the upside of Joey Aguilar more, and I like his arm better. But
you don't have to follow that with a but, Carter. You just leave it at that. And
no, that's the problem. Sometimes I do that. I do leave it with a but. I think it does matter. This game's being played at Neyland. If this game was in Athens, I think we might be looking at a touchdown spread, and where it was already. I feel like Georgia's going to have success on the ground. I feel like Georgia's going to be able to ground and pound a little bit and have time of possession. I don't care. I'm still going Tennessee. Give me Joey Aguilar in Tennessee. Give me the Volunteers to win, outright.
Wow.
Give me Tennessee 24, Georgia 21. Tennessee wins, game-winning field goal. Tennessee, they storm the field. I don't even know if they do storm the field at Tennessee.
They have taken down
the
literally
through the
that was
post in the river.
Bama.
Yeah.
You think they'd storm over a Georgia win, though, like this?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yes. Olive branch for this game, because we're on different sides. Under?
I don't mind that. I don't mind
it.
Nice. There we go.
I've
up.
got Georgia 27-20. So, yeah, under by a couple points.
I'll go Tennessee 21-17.